Could you wheeze a little quieter, kid? I'm trying to talk here.
Excuse me, Mr. Stone. My son has a condition.
You must be pretty good to win all this stuff.
Well, I don't like to brag or anything.
Yeah, I bet you're almost as good as Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris? Chuck Norris? He doesn't compete anymore, kid. And one of the main reasons he doesn't is me.
Okay, let's,
Yeah.
He doesn't compete because I would kick his ass.
Let's go, son. Come on.
Yeah.
Kick his ass.
Got you the first time.
Kick his ass, Drew.
Kick his ass.
You got to admire the confidence of Piscopo, right?
He is the ultimate confident fighter. Like, he doesn't think he's going to lose.
I believed him.
I believed him too.
I thought he was going to kick his ass in the tournament up until I was, Chuck Norris is going to kick his ass.
I believed him too, and until cheater Chuck Norris decided he was just going to join this join this this tournament here. I mean, come on now.
Let's save that fire for later. Cheater, called the great Chuck Norris.
Welcome to episode 55 of the Last Row Podcast. My name is Drew, and as always, I'm joined by my friend and co-host, life partner, best friend, maybe not best friend,
Sidekick.
Why did it take me
Come on.
5 tries to get that?
Oh man.
Mr. Badway across the room. Our website is thelastrowpodcast.com. We are on Twitter at The Last Row Pod, Facebook.com/The Last Row Pod, Google+. We've got a new iTunes review this week.
All right.
Thank you. Slowly climbing up to that JCD
Let's get one a week.
split.
Let's get one a week there.
Google Play Music. What's going on, Badway? What are we watching this week?
So the movie is Sidekicks, and starring Barry Gabrewski, Chuck Norris,
Chuck Norris. Joe Piscopo.
Piscopo. So, if we are sidekicks, which one of us is Chuck Norris and which one of us is Jonathan
I
Brandis?
think you're Chuck Norris.
Am I Chuck Norris?
I'm wheezing over here.
I don't know. You got a better beard than me, but you would wheeze.
I'm wheezing
I don't
over
know.
here.
You got a bad back.
We're both Barry Gabrewski.
Well, Chuck Norris is old as shit now, so maybe he's got a bad back. I don't know.
Can I be Chuck Norris with the mullet from the warehouse scene?
Yeah, with a sawed-off shotgun.
The greased up mullet.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
He really missed an opportunity for a ponytail there. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, he really did.
yeah, but the mullet was so strong. There's no need for the ponytail. I'll tell you, Brandis should have had the ponytail in that scene.
Yeah, he really should have.
Yeah.
He could have pulled it back.
Trying to copy too much, man.
Yeah.
Trying to copy. Anyway, Sidekicks. It's a long time coming. We talk about this movie as like a childhood favorite of ours. Might not be as well known, so if you don't know about this movie, just go to this website called www.youtube.com. That's youtube.com. And just search Sidekicks, It's on there. The full thing is on there, man.
I hesitate to link to it because I might want to watch it in the future, and I don't want to send 50 downloads to it for the 50 people.
Yeah, if we have that much influence,
the 5,000 people that listen to this
Sure.
show, I really don't want it to get taken down. But let's be serious: who the hell's taking this down for copyright requests?
Yeah, it's free on YouTube, so go watch it. Honestly,
That's how we just watched it.
It's a very good movie. But maybe not. Maybe if you haven't seen it when you were a kid, you're like, "What the hell is this crap?"
This crappy
But
movie.
as you'll listen, you'll know. Sidekicks, 1992, thriller drama. I don't know about thriller, Drew. Thriller?
I think I forgot to change this from our last notes.
Yeah? Is it?
Oops. My bad.
Directed by the inept Aaron Norris.
Yeah, you could
Was
tell.
this director inept?
maybe Chuck Norris thought so. I'm sorry, I forgot to actually, as I was pacing this in, this score is up to date though.
All right, full disclosure, people. So last week we recorded our podcast at midnight on a Friday.
It's now 3 a.m.
Now it's 11 p.m. on a Monday night, and so the quality of the show is going downhill rapidly. So please
That's
bear
where the
with
giggles
us.
are.
Please bear with us.
The IMDb score is right though.
4.9 IMDb out of 10.
That's right.
I get it. It's legit because the movie's not that good, but it's great.
Mark for Death is better,
Yeah.
but this is better. They're both
Barry.
better.
Barry is an asthmatic kid having trouble in life in general.
That's a pretty generic statement there.
I mean, we could just end it right there.
That's it. Period.
He lives with his father, a computer programmer in Texas. Barry is struggling to get by in life, dealing with his rough school life. Too much
How many
life.
life?
Too much life.
How many lives in there?
It's
How
a
many
lot of
lives in
lives.
there?
He's got no life. Bullies as well as his health. Barry's only source of enjoyment is fantasizing that he is with Chuck Norris. No, it's not that kind of movie. It's not that kind of movie.
I did not write this.
I want to be with you. He said.
I want to be with you.
That's what he said.
You want to be with me?
To Chuck.
I did not write this. I promise.
Barry becomes sick of getting picked on by the bigger guys and decides to learn karate in hopes of one day meeting the great Chuck Norris.
So he can be with them.
So he can be with him forever.
I said this movie should also be called Sidekicks: how many times can you read the same magazine?
He does have that one magazine.
It's like he gets it ripped at one point and he tapes it back up just so he can carry it around like he's staring at it.
Now his dad is in computers, Drew. So you think he has enough money to get him a subscription so he gets the next month's.
You know who else was in computers? Mr. Zach Morris's dad.
Yeah. The two most famous guys in computers in pop culture.
But he's a computer programmer.
Yeah.
I feel like in 92, the programmers didn't get the credit. It was all the salesmen. Like you look about Steve Jobs, like Zach Morris's dad. He didn't know what he was doing.
How
with
many
computers.
units can you push, Drew?
He was selling units. He was selling those IBMs.
So yeah, Barry's getting all of his daydreams from this one freaking magazine, and he's got a VHS library
of Chuck Norris movies, Delta Force.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, like, let's start by talking about this. This is a very popular movie for people in our age range.
If you're between the ages of 30 and 32, I feel like you like this movie.
Yeah, and I feel like when we talked about this as part of our nostalgia movies, we linked to that last week. We did an episode on that. This was I think it was on one of our lists. I think it was mine. Everybody wrote in to tell us that listens to the show, like, hey, I love that movie. There's a couple other people that had this on their list, their favorite list too. It's high time we do this one.
Yeah, and my question is, why is this movie for free on YouTube and you can't buy it anywhere on DVD?
Dude, if you want to buy it, you need to buy the European region lock, and it's like $50 on Amazon.
Who's the moron that owns the rights to this movie that's not capitalizing on like the nostalgia purchases of this movie?
Well, and that's the thing, right? So you talk about Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris you could say in the early 2000s when like the alphabet of manliness came out with Maddox and all these things, the Chuck Norris meme
became a thing.
It became a thing. Like, why did this movie not blow up?
Yeah, because this is the most ridiculous. This might be the most ridiculous Chuck Norris movie ever. Because like the daydream scenes of a deranged teenager shows you like the most outlandish of Chuck Norris situations.
That's what I don't understand. Like, and fantasizing about being with him, in more ways than one.
Yeah, right.
It's like you watch this. It blows my mind that this isn't more widely distributed. It's for free on YouTube and it hasn't been taken down.
Can we
from
explore
copyright.
this? Can we buy the rights to this movie? You and I
would love
is
to.
This is an investment we can do.
Start a distribution. Yeah. We'll get anybody that listens to this who wants to get in on this. We can pool our money
together. I got $5.
together.
I mean, I'll chip in.
But I mean, did you watch? So tell me, did you watch this as a kid? Do you remember it?
Absolutely. I mean, it was a staple in my VHS collection.
Yeah.
Taped it on Showtime or something like that. I don't know. I think my mom might have rented it for me one time, Friday night rental. And it's like you see it once and you're kind of hooked. It's like it's the ultimate story of a daydreamer. I was a bit of a daydreamer.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I said when we were watching this on YouTube, did this even come out in theaters? And I couldn't remember.
It definitely did.
It definitely did, but I did not see it in theaters. I saw it on a VHS rental that my dad got from a little known rental shop in our hometown called West Coast
Videos.
Which we are on the East Coast.
Yeah, next to a Pizza Hut, man.
Yeah, so it's like, that's how I saw this.
Yeah.
And I was hooked instantly. Like you can, draw the comparisons to Karate Kid. Obviously Karate Kid's a better movie from a cinematic quality. But I'd argue this is more fun.
Some might call it a ripoff. I would call it a ripoff. That's all right.
But I mean, you can say it's a ripoff, but it's kind of not. It's just a kid that learns karate. He's getting bullied.
Yeah, it's the same movie.
This is definitely lighter tone. So what do you like better? This or Karate Kid?
Karate Kid's better. I like Karate Kid better too. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay,
but this I definitely like. I saw Karate Kid when I was like a teenager.
Right.
I feel like I didn't see Karate Kid as a kid.
Right.
I saw this as a kid, so it's like gives me all the feels. You know what I mean?
I feel like I could rewatch this more than Karate Kid because it's lighter and it doesn't require like heavy viewing. When you're watching Karate Kid, it's kind of like heavy.
And you can kind of fast forward through the scenes of him getting bullied and go to the Chuck Norris scenes. And then just little things like the fist on the mat at the tournament.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's an iconic fist. Like I want a t-shirt with that fist on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Last Row Studios. Yeah. Hey, if they're not going to take it off of YouTube, they're certainly not going to get us for selling a fish shirt.
On the copyright infringement.
The Texas tournament.
Yeah.
So I kind of like in this movie too, Last Action Hero meets Karate Kid. If you think about it, I think Last Action Hero came out. This is 92. Last Action Hero was what, 94 or something?
I want to say 94. Yeah.
It's around the same time, a couple years later or whatever. And I look at that as like, did they copy off of this? It's very, very similar in tone, right? Yeah. It's the kid meets his hero. He teams up with them. This is more realistic though, because he's actually fighting with him in a tournament.
Yeah. Norris goes from screen to dream to reality.
One last question for you before we jump into the characters and just kind of the movies. Actually, two. I lied. The first is, who's a better actor, Ralph Macchio or Jonathan Brandis? And if you swap them, would either movie be better or worse?
Jonathan Brandis, hands down, is better than Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
Macchio sucks, all right? As good as the Karate Kid movies are, part of the reason why they're good is because he's so bad.
Yeah.
You know?
But he's like endearing bad. It's like, he's like Schwarzenegger, like that kind of actor. He's not great, but it's like, it's fun.
And also he's like 30, so
the last thing I want to talk to you too about before we jump in is a little bit about Chuck Norris. Like, were you a fan of him? But I'm talking before the memes. So talk about Chuck Norris back in the 80s and 90s, before Walker, Texas Ranger blew up on USA. Were you a fan of Chuck Norris like you were of Seagal, Schwarzenegger, Stallone? Because he's kind of the forgotten man.
Yeah, no, I wasn't at all. Like I knew Chuck Norris as Walker, Texas Ranger on USA Network before or after wrestling. I don't know which one.
With the action jeans?
Yeah. You know, it's like the commercials for it during wrestling, during Monday Night Raw, and the early stages of Monday Night Raw. That's like what I know Chuck Norris as for the most part, and this movie Sidekicks. His prime as far as like Hollywood movies go was probably in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Back even before I was born and in the 70s even. So I kind of like missed the Chuck Norris boat, as most of us did that, you know, came to know and love this movie.
Would you say, remember the movie that we played last week when we played Oscar's Plot Fiction, with a Denzel Oscar movie where he played baseball before people got paid to play baseball?
Yeah.
Would you say that Chuck Norris was doing action movies before people really got paid to do action movies?
Yeah, pretty much. And a lot of them look bad. I've seen a few of them and they were bad.
He peaked too early.
He's awesome in them, but like the movie's just awful. It's like his movies are on par with the Seagals, you know?
Yeah. But I think,
like late Seagal, not early Seagal.
Right. And I think Chuck Norris, so we talked about Seagal as a fighter, right? Chuck Norris is an actual fighter.
Yeah.
Like he's actually a fighter.
Yeah, and winning karate tournaments. They say he never lost except for the only man to beat him was Bruce Lee. Like, I don't know. It's always like a legend. Who knows if it's real or not?
And there was another situation where I think I knew a guy in high school, and he was actually the black belt. And there's a story where there's one guy that beat Chuck Norris that wasn't Bruce Lee or something. Yeah. And my friend beat the guy that beat Chuck Norris.
So he beat Chuck Norris.
So it became a thing like, oh yeah, he beat Chuck Norris. And these guys, like, he was a friend of mine from high school, and it was always something that we always talked about. It was really funny.
Just like the Eagles beat the Atlanta Falcons.
Right. So
the
they're Super Bowl
Falcons win the
champions.
Super Bowl this year. The Eagles are actually Super Bowl champs.
And they beat the Steelers, so you know they're AFC champs too. It's like, it's exactly the logic holds up.
Yeah, it's transitive properties.
So you mentioned Barry, a.k.a. Barry Wary.
Barry Wary, as we all know. A.k.a. you can do it, Barry.
A.k.a. don't give up, Barry.
Yeah.
A.k.a. wrap your leg around that rope, Barry. Tell me a little bit about Barry. What's this kid's deal? You read a bit about it in the synopsis. Like, what is this kid's deal? Like, what's his backstory? We don't know much.
So his mom died. She's dead.
She's dead.
His mom's dead.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. He must have been 5? What is he, like 15 in this movie?
I'd say he's in high school, so call him 15.
Call him 15.
Say he's like a sophomore.
He's not driving.
Right.
He's too nervous to drive.
His dad drives him to school.
Yeah.
So he can't drive.
Yeah, on his way to his computer job.
Selling programming for Zach Morse's dad.
So his mom's dead. He's got asthma, but we learned that he kind of doesn't have asthma. It's like mental.
Do you think it's in his head?
Yeah, I think it's in his head.
You don't think it's real?
No, I think he's faking it. Like, not faking it, but he's like, he's psyching it. He might be faking it. He's psyching himself out. You know the kind of thing where you're like, he's a weird kid, right?
Like a panic attack type thing?
Yeah, no, this is where I'm going with this. He's a weird kid. So, like, he's having daydreams. He's calling out Chuck Norris's name in bed and in school. So
he does want to be with him.
So if you're the weird kid in school and nobody likes you, you might get beat up a lot, and it's sad. Right? So what if, like, he uses the inhaler as, like, his shield? Or you don't want to beat the kid up with the inhaler, right?
Oh, yeah, like it's like a
don't hit a guy with glasses kind of thing.
Yeah. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?
Yeah. You wouldn't hit a guy with an inhaler, would you?
That.
It's kind of thing where you roll up on him with a fist like a bully, and he pulls the inhaler out. It's like this huge freaking inhaler, and like sucks it in.
I'm not gonna lie, that inhaler looked like a car muffler. Like that's how big that thing was.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was the Zach Morris equivalent of a phone type of inhaler. Absolutely.
I just wasn't really having that thing. I've seen inhalers before, and in 1992, I mean, I don't have one. I never had one, but I can't imagine it was really that big.
Yeah, so he's having these crazy daydreams. So what do you think about his daydreams? Like, what kind of issues does this kid really have?
I think that since his dad is just absentee, he's trying to like compensate maybe for being both parents, but like he's not. And his dad like doesn't really listen to him, so he needs a father figure. And Chuck Norris is the father figure that he doesn't have. He like escapes into this world of this guy's pretty awesome. I wish he was my dad.
Yeah, I gotta fight you on that. I don't know. His dad's doing the best he can.
I'm not saying he's a bad father.
He's a good father.
I'm just saying that he doesn't really pay attention to him.
His dad's a little pipsqueak, honestly. He needs a strong male figure, I guess.
But he doesn't pay attention to him, though. That's
he
the
doesn't.
thing.
Like, he's there for him. He's trying, but maybe he just doesn't know how.
That's what I'm saying. He's
Yeah.
he's watching out for his needs. Yeah, he drives him to school. He packs his lunch for him. You know, he buys him Chuck Norris movies.
But he's kind of a weakling, kind of spineless himself.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of thing, like he's looking for that role model, and his dad's just kind of his provider, right? It's almost like a Mr. Mom situation where he doesn't have that fatherly figure. He's just being like he's a parent. That's what he is. He's just a parent number one.
Right, but back to Barry. So is it fair to say that this kid should be institutionalized for how far these dreams go?
Dude, that was something I was going to ask you when we were watching this, right? So let me give you a little bit of background. If you haven't seen this movie, it doesn't matter, right? Like, you just follow along. This kid has the most vivid dreams that
Daydreams.
one could imagine.
Daydreams.
Yes, he's not sleeping. He's sitting in class calling out to Chuck Norris. Like, calling out to him. Like, hey, Chuck. And they're like, who are you talking to? Like, he's literally speaking out loud. And I think the one part, he's in class and he just says, I don't even know what he says. He erupts. And everyone starts laughing at him, and he's like calling out to Chuck Norris.
Yeah, he's like, Chuck Norris thanks him, and he goes like, anytime, Chuck.
Yeah, I'll do anything for you, Chuck.
Then he opens his eyes and realizes that he's in the middle of class, and everyone's laughing at him.
The entire class is laughing at him, and
inhaler time. It's inhaler time. Right. It's like his little mask.
Well, and there's something with bullying, right? So there's definitely such a thing as bullying, but I feel like you would probably laugh, like even if you're not a mean person. It's like, what the hell's going on here? I think he would be committed. Who talks to imaginary people at 15 years old?
And he had the one-on-one meeting with his teacher, and he was literally seeing a ninja with a sword coming at him.
Yeah.
And he trying to block his teacher. Like, that's problems.
I'm pushing out a Charlie horse.
Like, he could have thrown a punch at her thinking she was a ninja, and all of a sudden you hit the teacher, and now you're really in trouble.
And I think that you're right. I think probably maybe the teacher's too much of an enabler. Yeah. But I think just most people in this situation would probably go to an institution.
Yeah.
I think that's a valid concern.
So in these dreams, let's talk about the dreams a little bit here.
Yes.
It's like probably the best parts of the movie. So in these dreams, he's helping Chuck Norris in all the situations. They're kind of mirroring some of Chuck Norris's movies from past, like kind of loosely based on some of his previous movies. And he's always like, Chuck requires his help, and he's always like, he's there to save the day.
Yeah, he's like the sidekick.
Yeah, the sidekick. But he's basically, he is Chuck's sidekick.
He's Batman. He's Robin to
Robin.
Batman.
Yeah. To where eventually, as he gets stronger, as he trains in karate with his Mr. Lee, who we'll talk about later, it's almost where the last one he has, like, he almost like became the leader, and Chuck was the sidekick.
Yes.
Right. So, do you have any favorite? Do you have a favorite one of these dreams he had? There was a lot of them. There was maybe 6 or 7 daydreams in this movie.
I love the first one because the first one, and it's funny, like he, as you were saying, he grows in the dreams. He becomes more confident. In the first dream, they both have masks on.
Yeah.
And he's like that white ninja.
Yeah.
And it's clearly not him. The Chuck Norris ninja was definitely him.
Yeah.
This guy was definitely not him. And then they take the mask off in the end, but I like that one, and my other favorite one is the one where they come out of the water. Like, I don't know if that's the Delta Force movie or whatever, where Chuck Norris, he's under the water, the teacher's tied up. Master Stone is basically tying her up with some gunpowder to blow up the things behind her. Chuck Norris comes out of the swamp or out of the creek or whatever the hell it is, and he just starts shooting this giant machine gun. Like, he's got to put the powder out, so he shoots it out.
He shoots the powder out.
And then Barry comes up too and shoots next to him. Like, I'd got to imagine if Chuck Norris is like your dude.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate. Like, even as an actor, if Jonathan Brandis is acting in that scene, that's got to be awesome. It's slow motion, giant machine guns. So
it
awesome.
had to be fun for Brandis to shoot those scenes, and I believe that movie is missing in action.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen, but I've seen clips of.
I think I know the cover based on what you're saying.
It's a badass cover.
What's your favorite flashback?
It's tough. I mean, that one's obviously up there, especially with the emergence of the two. They're like hippos coming out of the water. And shit.
They really are hippos.
Yeah. I like the Western one. I don't know why. It's so cheesy, but it's the ultimate just daydream of him just pretty much bitch slapping Piscopo 5 times.
The scene where he's basically he's doing the gun shuffling,
gunslinging, yeah, whatever. He's gunslinging.
What do they call that? I don't even know.
Guns. It's like Twirly McGee.
It's like 5 a.m. now.
Flippity doos.
We're like 5 a.m. I don't remember what it is, but he's twirling the guns. That's really awesome. And the way he does the shot of milk and they just all make fun of him, even his own dream. It's hilarious.
He's such a bitch in his own dream. He can't order a beer or a whiskey. He's like, oh, for milk.
Chuck Norris validates it too. He's like, you know what? I'll have a milk too.
And obviously, I believe it's the final one where they come out in like trench coats, sawed-off shotguns, and killer mullets.
The mullets were so good. He really should have had a ponytail.
Yeah.
He should have had a ponytail.
And Piscopo was like full-on psycho supervillain.
Yeah.
Just going off the rails, which he must have had a great time filming that movie.
Just
Piscopo.
him in this role was amazing. And let's talk a little bit about Lee Stone and Piscopo.
Yeah.
It's a perfect time, right? Perfect transition. I loved him in this role, man. Like he was so much like the comedic villain, like Mr. Creases, like Sensei Creases in Karate Kid. He had just that attitude that he could kick Chuck Norris's ass, which was hilarious. And he didn't take himself seriously. Like he took himself so seriously that he didn't take himself seriously. I thought the actor did a phenomenal job. Yeah,
we talked about this when we just watched it just now, that growing up, didn't know that he was like a comedian, right?
Right. I had no idea. All I knew was this.
I thought he was just like a bad actor. Like I didn't know that it was like he was playing this role like so tongue in cheek that
camp.
it was camp. Like I just thought he was a bad actor in a funny way. Like I always enjoyed him, but years later I come to find out that he was in SNL back in the day and this and that, and just made me like the character that much more.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job, and I love just how cocky he was and just the way that he basically kicked Barry out. Like he didn't want him in the class.
Like who turns away a student, man?
He was so like the fact that like in the intro you hear that it's like he has this thing against Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
it's not like Chuck ever did anything to him. Like where did they start this feud?
Yeah. And the kid doesn't know Chuck Norris at that point. He's just like mentioned him, like, oh, I read it in the magazine. Chuck Norris is awesome, and the Piscopo just takes him out.
But see, they treated it like the Seagal Van Damme feud. Like they were on some late night talk show and they were about to fight each other.
Yeah,
but I remember reading something about that. It's a small tangent. There was some story that I read about JCVD and Steven Seagal, like they tried to get into a fight at some party. I think it was at Stallone's house or something in L.A.
Oh yeah, I think I heard the story. Stallone's house, yeah.
Yeah, it was at Stallone's house in L.A. or something. And Van Damme tried to fight Seagal. Seagal left, and he was like talking so much shit. Like basically, he wouldn't do it. And JCVD tracked him down to find him to try to fight him. See, that's awesome.
When a guy's that desperate to fight you. Like as Seagal, he was that desperate to fight Seagal. Seagal has no choice but to turn him down.
Well, they said that Seagal ran away. Like he didn't want to do it.
I wouldn't say run away. I would say like he probably clowned him. Like, look at this guy. He's so desperate to touch me. Look at him.
This guy's doing splits
over
here.
Me everywhere. Come on, this guy's pathetic.
This guy's doing splits over here.
This guy's pathetic.
Meanwhile, Chuck Norris can kick all their asses. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, like you mentioned with Stone. I had no idea that Piscopo was this comedic actor on SNL. And I go back and watch SNL with my uncle one day and I'm like, that's the guy from Sidekicks. He's like, what? Like Joe Piscopo?
He's freaking ripped too, man.
He is. He was really ripped.
Super oily, super buff.
Totally greased up. Yeah. It was getting so steamy in here when we were watching that scene. It was getting real steamy. Barry Kabrowski wants to be with Chuck, but man, I gotta call up Lee Stone here.
So getting back to the dream sequences for a second. So Piscopo as Stone, we'll call him Stone.
Stone,
right?
yeah, Stone.
Stone is the main villain in each one of Barry's like daydreams after he gets kicked out of that dojo for trying to dare, train with him. So in every ridiculous scene that follows, Stone is more and more prevalent in these like in the role of the villain in his little daydream, and ultimately gets the shit kicked out of him by Norris and Barry.
But do you think that he should actually be the villain, right? Because the next guy that I want to talk about, Randy Cellini. Mr. He's asking for another brick. He is really the villain, and Stone becomes the focal point of it, and it's like his daydreams adapt, right? So eventually Winnie Cooper becomes the girl he's trying to save, all this stuff, right? And he becomes the master, and Chuck Norris becomes the sidekick. Cellini never becomes the main villain. He's always like a henchman. And all Stone really did was turn him away from class. That was really it.
Cellini's the one there every day kicking his ass, right?
In school, beating him up wrestling him naked in the showers. Yeah. Like, he's really kicking his butt. All
wrestling
day.
Him naked in the showers. What copy of this movie did you have?
I don't know. It's like 5 a.m., right? It's
no, maybe here's my theory. You would think that Cellini would be the main villain in his daydreams, but the fact that Stone dare besmirch the name Chuck Norris in his presence, Barry had no choice but to forever put him on the top of his list, his hit list.
That's like somebody talking shit on Nick Cage here.
I don't care what you do to me. You can kick my ass, but how dare you talk about my man Chuck Norris like that? And that's why Barry put him as public enemy number 1. Lee Stone.
What do you think of Cellini then as a villain? Like him and like you going back, it's Billy Zabka, right?
Yeah,
so you got the dynamic between Kreese and Billy Zabka in Karate Kid. If you don't know who Billy Zabka is, he's the kid Johnny, right? Sweep the leg Johnny. What's the dynamic between these two? Because you don't really see him like he's in the class just standing there. He's not really doing any sparring. He's just kind of there.
Yeah,
he's
you don't see how good or bad he is at karate. Billy Zabka can kick your ass. And he should have kicked Ralph Macchio's ass. In a real fight, like I'm not talking about points here.
Yeah.
Talking
like
about
a street
real
fight.
fight. Yeah.
Like they kind of did outside when they were dressed like, in the skeleton outfits.
Yeah, Zabka will whoop his ass, right? In this movie, Cellini gets punked by Brandis over and over and over again. Yeah. All right. He's beating him in the school with in the classroom. He's beating him in smarts.
Beating him in the showers.
He's beating him in the showers. He's beating him in the rope climb.
Yeah.
He's beating him in the push-ups. He's beating him to the girl.
Yeah.
Winnie Cooper.
Which that's a whole other side story that we can talk about another day, but I don't get what Cellini's big deal is. Like he beat him in the classroom because he answered a question and like Cellini was so offended.
Yeah. How dare you upstage me?
Like, would you start a fight and create like a mortal enemy because somebody answered a question? But I guess that shows who this guy is.
Well, he's a bully. He's had it out for him from the beginning for no reason. But the fact that he basically got called stupid by the teacher because of Barry Wary.
But he got called stupider than Barry. So it was like a backhanded compliment. It's like, oh, Barry, I guess you're not a complete idiot.
But he was told to be made a fool of. But then they fought in the gym, and Barry kind of whooped his ass there. So it's like this guy is like sucks.
Yeah,
he's not very good, is he?
Good, is he? He's not very good.
That's why he's not the main villain.
But when he was beating Barry, like not to skip around, but that scene was ridiculous. He was doing like, when you fight somebody and you think that they're lesser than you, you kind of like take it easy on them.
Yeah.
Like you push them around. It's like, oh, I'll punch this guy and I'll back up and kind of, you do the Randy Orton, you're like taunting people.
Yeah, right.
You push them around a little bit, maybe you fight him. No, he went straight for the freaking roundhouse.
He threw a roundhouse. He threw a roundhouse first.
You know how in all of the katas and all of the different demonstrations at the tournament in the end, people are doing those kicks where they keep their leg up in the air for the entire time and they're just spinning around on their toe.
Oh yeah.
Like he was doing that. He was doing like bicycle kicks. Like Liu Kang.
You would think that one would never do a bicycle kick in a real fight, but Cellini utilizes that move.
He did. It's like that's how you know he's an amateur. He dialed it to 11 immediately.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like it's just the whole situation between those two. I don't really get it. And Winnie Cooper didn't even like Randy Cellini. It wasn't even a thing.
No, she didn't even know he existed.
I love the scene too. Randy Cellini and his boys hanging out, watching just the cheerleaders practice.
Yeah.
But they were like performing for those guys and they're just sitting there like so machismo, like, yeah, baby, do it again. Like it was so ridiculous.
But seriously though, I mean, Barry has been training karate for like what, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
And this guy's been in Lee Stone's class for maybe years for all we know.
Right.
And he got his ass kicked first day by the guy is not a competent villain. All right.
I want to talk a little bit about this training montage, right? So let's back up a second. Barry's dad goes into a teacher conference with Miss Lee Chan, or I forgot her name. Noreen Chan, excuse me.
By the way, Barry's dad is Jeff Bridges' brother.
They got the lesser Bridges. Would this movie have done better if Jeff Bridges was in it
instead of Bew?
This is before Jeff started doing stuff like The Seventh Son and all these other weird movies. But so Jeff Bridges' brother is Barry's dad. He goes into a parent-teacher conference because the teacher, Noreen Chan, is very concerned about him. She goes to try to help him.
Yeah.
This gives me to this weird subplot of them falling in love. Right, I say old people falling in love because
they're probably 35.
They're like 35. They're
careful,
not much
you're
older
almost
than
there.
us.
Yeah.
No, but it's like, so that whole subplot, she takes him to meet her uncle who comes basically off of a plane to come to America to help run this restaurant because her parents aren't with her anymore.
Yes.
So he is the new Mr. Miyagi. We'll just say it, right?
Yeah.
He comes and starts training Barry. He's training him by throwing dumplings at his face.
Yeah.
Mr. Dumplings. This whole training
be prepared.
montage was just a really interesting thing because it wasn't your typical montage.
No, they cut it into certain sections there.
What did you think of the technique of this?
Of cutting it into certain sections.
Yeah, like you're seeing the progression.
Yeah, I kind of liked it a little bit rather than having like the full on music video, the 3-minute music video,
Yeah.
where start to finish. I kind of liked, a little bit of training, scene, a little bit of training, scene, a little bit of training. I like that better.
What did you think of the training methods?
Oh, just handing the kid nunchucks and saying, "Here you go, son."
Don't
Have
hit
at
your
it.
nuts out.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt when it hits you in the head, and bam, he hits himself in the head.
Yeah, I mean, he had him like walk on a railroad with a nunchuck for balance. He was doing some type of exercising, some kata on top of a hill while he was gambling on the bottom with all the moms in the neighborhood.
Part of me thinks this guy doesn't really know that much about karate, huh?
Because the guy's drunk the whole time.
The guy's a drunkard. I'm pretty sure about that.
Can we broach this subject because literally gives him some type of liquid. So Barry has asthma, right? We've talked about this. He's trying to give him something. Barry has some asthma attack. He goes into the hospital.
So he has an asthma attack because he got friend zoned by Whitney Cooper.
Whitney Cooper.
Yeah.
She says, Randy Cellini basically says she doesn't like you. She pities you.
Yeah.
And he asks her out.
And he's right.
And she's like, no, Barry, I don't really like you like that. And he's like, oh, he said you pitied me. And then he just starts.
Yeah. And she
wheezing.
goes, I worry about you, Barry.
And that's
like, yeah, okay. She pities him. She does.
Right.
So he can't take it. He goes home and has a panic attack.
But he smashes his inhaler because he wants to beat it, right?
Yeah, he could beat it.
He definitely couldn't beat
Didn't beat it, did he?
And they said that he didn't have scarring on his lungs, so maybe it's not in his
So
head.
the doctor lets us know that he's pretty much all in his mind.
Yeah, she said that. And then Mr. Lee comes in and gives him some Vicks Vapor Rub. Basically, he pulls out some Vicks.
Family recipe.
He's like, oh,
Yeah.
Bristol Myers Squibb or whoever makes this stuff. It's an ancient family recipe from GlaxoSmithKline.
This guy's such an alcoholic, man. I'll tell you what.
This guy's definitely a drunk, right?
Yeah.
So later in the movie, he gives him some type of liquid.
Yeah.
And Noreen Chan says, what is that stuff? He's like, don't worry about it.
It'll make him
be
feel
fine.
better. It'll make him feel better, he goes.
He needs a little confidence, Badway.
Yeah.
He needs to clear his lungs out.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What green liquid do you know that will give you confidence, clear your lungs out, keep you from coughing?
He's feeding this kid absinthe, Drew.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The kid gets a little bit more confidence, starts to get, what's that movie with Jackie Chan, The Drunken Master?
Drunken Master, yeah. He's loosened up a little bit, right?
I definitely approve of this guy's methods. I definitely approve of them.
He's feeding this kid alcohol. He's drunk himself. This guy's a fraud, but it's working. It's kind of like a placebo effect, It acts like he knows some karate. Maybe he actually will learn a few things, and he did.
He definitely does it.
And we all know, he only needed to show his karate prowess one time in that small fight in the gym, and we know that Cellini's not that good of a fighter anyway. He kind of sucks. So how much skill does he actually need? So for all we know, this Mr. Lee,
yeah, Mr. Lee.
So this guy's named Mr. Lee, and
she's named Noreen Chan,
and then there's Lee Stone.
Yeah.
Why is there two Lees?
Mr. Lee Stone.
Why are we confusing ourselves?
I don't know.
Anyway,
the teacher. Call him the teacher.
Yeah.
Noreen's uncle.
Yeah. So I don't think he knows what he's doing at all. Yeah.
You don't think he knows what he's doing?
No.
Well, the other scene too, when the biker gang comes over and takes over his restaurant.
Yeah.
He quote unquote pretends to be drunk. No, he was already drunk.
Yeah, he was already drunk.
He comes out and he's like carrying the plate of food.
Yeah, he did a little drunken master of himself there. Yeah.
That was a pretty awesome scene, by the way. So he's been training for all of 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks.
Maybe a month, who knows?
Maybe a month.
Yeah.
He can breathe better. He's doesn't have any more issues with his lungs. Gets into that fight in the gym that we've been talking about.
Climbs the rope with Chuck Norris's help.
Climbs the rope.
It's an iconic scene.
That might be actually my favorite
It's an iconic scene.
daydream scene.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, we can do it. You can do this, Barry. You can do it, Barry.
You do it, Barry.
But Randy Cellini says, hey, buddy, you want a chance at me? Come get me at the Texas Open tournament.
Get me at the Texas Open tournament.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. That's
Come get me.
It was pretty generic. It was just like that. Yeah.
But if one had not seen this movie before, you would think, hey, they're going to have a showdown, man.
Yeah, they're going to fight,
each
right?
other.
It's going to be Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka all over again.
It's going to be crane kick.
Yeah.
No, Badway.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Big disappointment. So we have 4 competitors. What is it? The kata, I think it's called.
The kata.
Where it's just like basically a choreographed dance move.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different types.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mean to belittle it. It's like very, very beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
There's the weapons demonstration.
Yes.
There's the brick breaking, and then there's the sparring, right?
Right.
So if Barry and Cellini are going to throw down, there's only one event, and it's the sparring. But they don't enter that tournament, do they? They don't enter that part, do they?
Let me ask you, how do you sign up for this thing? Doesn't this seem like the type of organized event that you would have to sign up for 6 months in advance, and you might even have to audition to get into it?
Yeah, I think it would be like spots would be limited. They'll just let anybody in.
Do your regional tournament. This is like the equivalent of like if you just said, hey, I'm a football team, I want to play in Texas State Championship.
Especially with something like brick breaking and sparring with people like black belts, right? You could get seriously injured.
Right.
If you're just an amateur walking in off the street.
They didn't do any type of test at all. Like,
No.
hey, can you actually break bricks?
Yeah.
Because Barry shows up like, what if he couldn't break any? What if he broke his arm in the thing?
Yeah, like, could they sue him? I don't know. I guess that's what the waiver's for.
Yeah, they signed the waiver.
So they roll up to the line, and it's like the biggest asshole of all time is collecting registration forms.
This guy was so just douchey.
He's so snarky. And it's just Barry. It's the teacher who somehow just knows this dance move that's really great, that her drunken uncle?
Drunken uncle.
Father?
Yeah, uncle.
I don't know.
It's not her father.
Taught her. Yeah. And the drunken chef himself. So there's 3 of them. Let's sign up. Douchebag at the register says, "Oh, you need 4 people. Sorry, get your 4th person.
Go find
out
one.
of here." Sorry.
You're allowed.
Yeah. So who's going to be the 4th member, Drew?
So Barry's away. He's watching the tournament. They said, "Don't worry, we'll take care of it. We're gonna we'll sign us up.
Yeah.
Go check out the
Yeah,
competition.
go check out the competition.
Right?
Yeah.
Barry's dad's there. They just happen to look up to this balcony. What do you know?
Who's spectating the event?
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
Because he probably sponsored the thing, right?
Yeah.
Which means it should be illegal for him to
It's
participate.
like his tournament, basically.
And I like how, so the uncle, Mr. Lee, comes out and he's like, "Oh man, there's Chuck. It's the boy's idol. We got to get him. Go ask him to be the 4th member." Like any other situation, that would be the most outlandish thing possible. Chuck Norris seems like the only type of guy that would actually maybe do this. Nobody else would do it.
So he's having like a very like in-depth conversation with like 8 people. It's like a circle of people.
Right.
And they're like, he's like having a really like serious in-depth conversation. Gets interrupted by some lady who he doesn't know saying, "Excuse me, Mr. Norris, can I talk to you?"
Can I talk to you?
Yeah, no, Chuck Norris, maybe he knows he likes to get down. We don't know. So he's like, "Hold on a second here. I got some work to do."
That's where I say at the end of the movie, he should have. I was expecting. No, if it was Steven Seagal in this movie, he would have stolen the woman.
Oh yeah,
right.
Stole the wolf
from Bew,
from the lumpy man Bew
Bridges.
Bew Bridges.
He's off playing on his computer.
So Miss Chan asks him, and he miraculously says, "Yes, I will do this."
I'll tell you why he said yes, Badway.
But we skipped why, the real reason why, and tell him why.
Because earlier,
Moments before the question was asked,
Lee Stone walks up to him and says, "Hey man, Chuck Norris." He gives him a psh. He gives him a psh. He pushed so hard that Chuck Norris' mullet like flew back.
Yeah.
He basically said, "Too bad you don't compete anymore. I'd love to kick your ass."
yeah, like he said that right to his face, and Chuck Norris like kind of like laughed it off, but in a way you knew it was digging at him.
That's the only reason, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the only reason why he competed. And you know what? It looks good to help the kid out too.
Yeah, the smallest window where he got a chance to get hands on this asshole Joe Piscopo, he took it. He ran it.
But I love how they show how he joins the team.
Oh, the setup to where like Brandis sees him and basically doesn't know if it's a dream or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Which it still could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting
Scoping
to
out
find
the
out.
competition. All of a sudden, he looks to his left, and boom, there he is, sitting right next to him.
He does like a quadruple take.
Yeah, and then the one of the most famous and most iconic movie lines of all time. What do you say? You and I go win this thing.
I
say that thing. I say that to this day, like daily, for the smallest of competitions.
We both reference this, and nobody has any clue what I'm talking about.
You say you and I go win this thing.
It's like that's so badass. And if that doesn't get you jacked up, man, if that doesn't get you to want to be with him, that I don't know what does.
So, kid's dream has come true. Doesn't matter what you do in the tournament. He is fighting alongside of Chuck Norris. So let's ask this question. Let's just flat out ask it. Is it fair?
Absolutely not.
Is it fair that Chuck Norris is joining this competition?
Absolutely not. And if you're a competitor,
I
was going to say competi. I'm making up new words here. We tend to do that here. If you're a competitor and you see this dude signing up, like the guy at the counter doesn't even believe him. He's like, right, whatever.
Norris,
And he's like, "You got a problem with that, son?" He's about to roundhouse kick this snarky
He should have
a-hole.
broken the table or something. He should have.
I wouldn't be okay with that, but you can't because Chuck Norris is a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad person. But I mean, I guess it makes it a little more fair that he could only win sparring. He's not doing all the events.
Yeah.
If he's like, hey, he's like your avatar, like he's just going to do everything
He's
for
going to
you.
do everything for you.
That's definitely not fair. But I would not be happy about that. Like the guy he's fighting at one point, the guy like almost gets knocked out of the ring and he looks like he's about to have a heart attack.
Yeah, the guy's clearly overweight. So Chuck Norris enters the sparring portion of
He's
the
like killing these guys.
four-person group. And he's like whipping everyone's ass, man. It's clinical, but he's making sure not to hurt anyone. He's like being the Batman of sparring competitions where it's like he's not killing them.
Right.
But he could, but he won't. So the competition goes on. Ms. Chan does really well in the dance competition, whatever.
I'll tell you what, Lee Stone's kata competitor leaps and bounds better.
Well, she got second place.
She was great.
Yeah. So Flying Dragon, which is the name of Barry's team, gets second place there. First place in the brick breaking from the Drunken Master. What do you do? 9 bricks? 8 bricks?
I don't even remember. A lot of bricks.
Barry does this nunchuck scene, which is super badass.
Talk about iconic, man.
Learn how to do the nunchucks and do them well.
Can you have anything more, like, I guess it's not more American, but than like a 5,000 foot American flag like behind you? He's dressed like a white ninja. And when I was a kid, man.
Whoa. Let's not. In his dreams, he's dressed as a white ninja.
Not in real life.
Yeah.
No, but let me tell you, when I was a kid, you watch this.
Yeah.
This is like the ultimate scene. Like it makes you want to sign up. You like sign me up for karate right now.
I'm gonna learn nunchucks so I can be this white ninja in the scene.
There's an amazing electric guitar behind him playing this awesome riff. It's like squealing on a mountaintop electric guitar. He's doing the most insane nunchuck moves, and there's a gigantic American flag behind him.
Oh yeah.
But is that just what he's imagining? Like he's imagining he's helping out with Chuck Norris in these other daydreams. Is he just like spinning the thing around?
Yeah, he's spinning it around. He's probably drunk off of whatever Mr. Fake Miyagi gave him, right?
The absinthe.
Or my theory is he did do all that stuff and like he blacked out like Will Ferrell in Old School.
In Old School.
Or like he didn't know what he did.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of what happened because like he was doing his thing. It was really Barry.
Yeah.
And then it cut to the dream sequence of the ninja getting really intense and doing everything super awesome, American flag, whatever. And then it cut back to Brandis and it's over. And like he was like, he had a stunned look on his face like he didn't know what just happened.
Yeah.
So was it A, he was drunk and he had a really poor score and he was smacking himself in the head the whole time? He thought he was badass because he was daydreaming again?
I think it was A.
Yeah.
There's no B. There isn't a B.
Or was it B, he really knew what he was doing?
No.
And he blacked out like in a savant type way like Will Ferrell.
Like he didn't know his own strength.
He didn't know his own strength. Which one was it?
It's definitely A.
You know why it's A? I'll tell you why it's A. Because after the fourth competition, when Chuck Norris pretty much dominates the entire field of the sparring competition, they're still tied at the end of the thing. So they had to go to a tiebreaker.
Points.
So if they got first in brick breaking, first in sparring, and second in the dance competition, how are they tied? You know, right? It's because Barry got last place.
He definitely did.
He got last place. They didn't show what place he got. He definitely had no clue what he was doing.
The place erupted in cheers because they wanted to support the guy because they probably thought he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he's like hitting himself in the head.
So it was a daydream that he did well. Total daydream.
Oh my God.
The proof is in the standings, I feel. But we got to talk about the showdown because finally Norris and Piscopo meet. The classic throwdown that we've been waiting ages to see is Joe Piscopo versus Chuck Norris.
I've been waiting all my life for this fight. Yeah. I've been waiting all my life. Yeah, it's a little underwhelming.
Did the flight didn't lead up to the expectations?
It's a little underwhelming. Yeah. He definitely cheats immediately. He tries to shake his hand and he immediately cheats.
It's a good move, man. It's a good move.
Should have been paying attention. Chuck Norris should have been paying attention. Yeah. Don't sleep, buddy.
Yeah.
He taps his glove, hits him in the back of the head. People start booing.
1 point, man.
So is the entire crowd cheering for Chuck?
It was like a wrestling match. It was a heel move.
But do they know that Lee Stone is bad?
Well, he clearly was disrespectful, and everyone wants Chuck Norris to win.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good guy. Yeah. It's you're rooting for John Cena, right? You're not going to root for the heel, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's like that. So he hits him in the head, back of the head.
Yeah.
And then Chuck Norris just wipes him across the floor.
Oh, yeah, he does.
The best scene, though, the best part of that whole thing is like, what the hell was he doing on the last point? He gets so mad that he starts taking off his gloves. He takes off his shirt. Like, that's instant disqualification. The second you take your gloves off.
No, you get more points for that.
So he takes his shirt off. Yeah. The camera pans away. he's dry, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes back to him, and he's squeezing his pecs.
Yeah, man.
He's greasing himself up.
That's how hard he's flexing, man.
Dude.
Instant perspiration.
He is so greasy. Like, he's just instant grease.
Top 5 greasiest men of all time.
Who's
Gotta be.
Who sprayed him down?
Yeah.
Like, whose job was it to like spray him down
I'll tell you
there?
what, they got fired.
He was dripping wet.
Too much grease, couldn't get it off him.
He was too greasy.
Didn't want to lose a day, so they just shot it.
He was so damn greasy.
They didn't have time for go to shower. They're losing daylight.
So he just runs at Chuck Norris. It's like, that's like in Ghostbusters when Ray's like, he's like, hold on, guys, I got a plan.
Yeah.
I got a plan. It's like, get her.
Get her.
It's like, that was your plan?
Yeah.
He runs right at him. Like, what the hell was he thinking? Instantly gets kicked in the face, spun around like comically like a million times, which again, growing up, this was a staple of my childhood viewing. My brother and I would just make fun of this scene all the time, over and over. Gets kicked, completely gets his ass kicked. Chuck Norris wins. It's a tie. They got to go to a tiebreaker. They got to choose somebody.
We talked about this earlier about, is it fair that Norris is in this tournament? I think it's got to be, it is fair. Because A, it's his tournament, right? And B, Chuck Norris can do what he wants.
Right.
And C, somebody had to put this guy in his place.
Yeah, that's why
no one else was doing it. Because he would have won. He was being, like, in the supercut of the 2 fights leading up to the championship, he was just cheaply beating everybody up, sucker punching people, hitting them when they were down, hitting them when the point was over.
Dude, it was like kickboxer. It was like Tong Po in kickboxer. Yeah. It was like Chong Li in Bloodsport. He
would have killed someone had they gone far enough. So somebody had to put this guy in his place.
He absolutely wiped the floor with everybody.
Norris?
Yeah, I'm not upset that he lost.
Yeah.
So the last thing I really want to hit on this tournament is, was it cheap the way that basically the Frying Dragon team won?
So the Frying Dragon gets to choose the competitor, and the other team, the Stone team, gets to choose the competition.
Why didn't Stone make everybody happy and pick sparring so we could watch Randy Cellini and Barry fight? That would have been the best.
That would have been the best. But who's to say, like, if they pick Cellini, what if they just pick Norris again?
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's true.
You know
but was it like a situation where it's like a coin toss, like in football, like you pick whether you want to kick or receive, and then they pick the goalpost that they want to defend?
So if the Frying Dragon picked Barry,
right,
his counterpart would be Cellini. But who's to say his counterpart is Cellini, though?
Why did they just pick Stone?
Yeah.
Stone would wipe the floor with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So they pick breaking.
And it's Cellini versus Barry. And this is the showdown, but it's not really a showdown because they're not putting hands on each other, which is kind of a letdown.
We talk about, Stone being greased up. We talk about Stone. I mean, they don't call him Stone for nothing. He's pretty hard, right? He's rock hard. That's why they call him Stone.
Yeah, rock hard.
Randy Cellini, he's got a little bit of a heavy breathing situation here. That's where he gets his breaking power from. Yeah. He's lining up on these bricks. And, the famous line, right? There's a lot of famous lines in this. He's asked, ladies and gentlemen, he's asking for another brick. The
brick.
Mulleted, Barry Melrose looking announcer of this thing. He's like,
unsung hero of the movie.
Yeah.
The announcer. Yeah.
I posted a picture on our Twitter page. It's so ridiculous, these guys. This movie is so 90s. The amount of mullets and just giant glasses is ridiculous. He chooses breaking. He doesn't break it. Stone's so mad. He says, if you're going to break something, you break it. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Barry comes out. He's got to break it now. And he's got to break all of these bricks.
Break 9 bricks.
The kid couldn't even break a piece of wood 3 weeks ago. What the hell, man?
Yep. Did he add one to make it 10?
I think they added another one. And Stone's like, no way they're going to get this, right?
Yeah. So what do they do to make it easier?
Definitely cheating.
Definitely Light it on fire. Yeah, it looks cool, but where's the rule book, right?
And everybody's standing by idly like, wow, that's awesome.
That looks really cool. Look at that pretty light. Wow. That's cheating.
That's definitely cheating.
The structural integrity of the bricks has been compromised, Drew.
I love it. You guys want to know at home listening to this, if you're driving, whatever, wherever you are, how serious we take the research on this podcast.
Yeah.
Badway, before we podcasted here, He was sitting there on YouTube doing some deep YouTube research on people firing bricks.
I was like, for 20 minutes, I hadn't said anything. And Drew's like, can you look at this? I'm like, no, I'm busy. I was looking up to see if it really made it more difficult or not to use fire and bricks. And there are YouTube videos of idiots using fire and bricks to break.
I like how the one you watch, like the guy broke it and you're like, wow, that was pretty awesome. And then you hear the guy's fire alarm.
The fire alarm started going off.
I'm fully expecting the guy's house to burn down in the background.
So most of the YouTube commenters would comment and say that, you idiot, it makes it easier. Why is that cool? So this is what we have here. We have the cheating frying dragons using Chuck Norris and using fire. Now, I don't think it's cheating to use Chuck Norris, but I do think it's cheating to use fire. And,
do you think he would have broke it without the fire?
Hell no. No.
The fire definitely helped.
Maybe it was a confidence thing, and maybe the lesson, like the point of it was maybe lost on us and a lot of people because it was kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Was the fire supposed to be like it's so scary for him that maybe it'll help him
just do it?
Break through it? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because it certainly didn't make it more difficult.
It definitely made it easier.
Yeah. 100% made it easier.
So in any event, he wins. Everybody's happy. He wins. Stone's pissed. Cellini can't believe it.
Yeah.
Gives
him the head slap.
The head slap is the best
Slow
part.
motion head slap.
They win. Chuck Norris bolted, by the way, after he beat Stone. He was out of there.
He was out.
He was outside in his like karate, not his karate, in the black trench coat, the Seagal outfit.
Yeah.
And that was it. He's out. Barry wins. They're happy. Where do we go from here?
So yeah, after like a brief conversation on the bench, like he's gone.
And he disappears like Batman.
Leads me to ask, was he even there?
No. He wasn't. Is this a Han situation?
Yeah,
again?
that's like the age-old question that I've always wondered. And like when you watch a movie like this, you can look it up online, see what other people are saying. There's nothing on the internet about this movie. This movie like doesn't exist for like 80% of the population.
Right.
And it blows my mind.
Well, I feel like it's only people our age that know about this.
So I can't get I couldn't poll a lot of answers. I can't get an answer to this question. So I'd like to ask you, the the listeners, you can watch us. Was Chuck Norris there for that tournament? I mean, if you see this movie, if your childhood, if you grew up watching this movie, please write us in and answer this question. Was he really there? Or was it all in Barry's head? Was it one last dream? And really, he won that shit. Maybe he beat up Stone. Right?
I feel like the whole movie's a dream. There's no way that could happen. My life is a dream if that's true.
Oh man,
no way.
No, I think the tournament really existed, but I'm not sure that Chuck Norris was really there. I feel like it was one last daydream, but it was like he actually did it.
You know what the daydream was? Barry sitting in the audience watching it, pretending he was doing it.
That would be so pathetic. Please, like we would have gotten nowhere in the movie. We would have gotten nowhere. So they never got their fourth member, so they were disqualified before they even started.
No, he never even went. He saw the flyer in the back of the magazine, and that's it.
God.
He never trained. He just went there.
Dude, that's too dark. That's too dark for me.
Yeah, we can't go there.
No.
We can't go there.
No, he did it. He got that trophy, man. The trophy was real, damn it.
Yeah. Oh my God. So now that we talked about how it won, I want to see like, how does this hold up for you really quick before we get out of here? Does it hold up?
Yeah, so we did this. We don't do this often where we watch the movie and immediately podcast right after it. So we watched it together. We don't usually watch the movies together. So we're sitting here and it's like, I don't know, it's like 8 o'clock before the movie. We didn't even start the movie yet. And I'm like kind of dreading it because I haven't seen it in a while and I'm not sure if it's like it'll hold up or not. So in about like 3 minutes flat, I was like, all right, I'm into this.
He turned right to me. He's like, dude, I'm in.
I'm into this. This is not a chore anymore. I'm watching this movie and this is great.
Yeah.
And it held up. It totally did. Like, it's super cheesy. And yeah, it's poorly acted, except for like Brandis. Brandis is actually a good actor.
He's really good.
Yeah. Piscopo was overacting, but I feel like he was doing it on purpose.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked for the movie. So I enjoyed it. Like, I was right back to my childhood. I was right back there again. Nostalgia feels.
I want to try something new here on this show. We link to the post here. If you're listening to this, go to our website, thelastrow.podcast.com. There's a post for this page. Leave us in the comments what your history is with this movie. Does it hold up to you? If you want to send it to us, an email, thelastrow.podcast@gmail.com or on Twitter @thelastrow.pod. But go to the comments section on this page for our post here and let us know what you think of this movie. Because I think it holds up pretty damn well to me. I mean, it's like an hour and a half plus, and it felt like 15 minutes to me. Yeah. Like, it was really fast. I think the pacing's actually very good to me.
It is, because there's so many daydreams breaking up the real scenes, and it's like, it really does fly by. Not a lot of filler.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, we got another email this week that I want to just touch on because I think it's pretty funny. This one comes from Kim. I'm assuming Kim is a girl.
Could be a guy.
It could be a guy. I know guys named Kim, but I'm assuming this is a female listener. She says, "Hey guys, I want to let you know that I'd be happy to buy your tickets if you two would promise to go see 50 Shades Darker together.
Where do I sign up? Get your Venmo.
And please get a better restaurant than Red Robin. Endless Cheddar Bay biscuits over bottomless fries all day.
Red Lobsters.
I'll take you to Red Lobster.
Take me to Red Lobster.
But see, the question
is it
is,
endless shrimp?
See, will Kim pay for our Red Lobster meal too?
You gotta pay for it all,
because
man.
then we really have a good date.
That's like one of those dating shows. Like, what was the Studs?
Yeah,
Was it the
Studs.
dating show Studs.
Yeah, I remember
it's like
that.
they'd pay for dinner and a movie, man.
Yeah. Kim, I'll take you up on that offer. You want to say? I mean, hell, we're gonna probably go watch this together anyway. We got a podcast to do here.
Yeah, why not? Why not make some money on it? Come on, Venmo. Come on.
We also got a awesome tweet from a friend and listener to the podcast, Chris O. He sent us this amazing Last Action Hero pinball machine on Twitter. Well, we retweeted it. Go check it out.
I didn't even know that existed. That's awesome.
It looks awesome. I need that for Last Row Studios here. I need to have that.
You know, my favorite pinball machine of all time was the Terminator 2 one.
Yeah,
where
that's awesome.
Where the starter is the gun.
Yeah.
You like shoot the gun in the pinball.
There's an awesome one that I used to play, and it's like back in the day, Shaq was like a big, player.
Yeah, he had his own brand of like toys and stuff. The Shaq brand
there
toys.
There was a Shaq pinball machine.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one too.
It was at the mall that was by our house.
Yeah.
And I used to go there and play that game. It was awesome.
Yeah, the Fun Attic.
It was so cool. And the pinball looked like a little basketball.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was awesome.
So anyway, and we also got an iTunes review this week. We are like dangerously close to this split. Is your back going to be okay by this time?
That doesn't matter. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway.
We're at like 44 right now, so we're only 6 away from this split.
So Pinner or Piner.
I don't know. 2 N's, Pinner.
01001. Is he a robot? I don't know. He must be a robot. The best podcast out there. The Roadhouse episode is so funny. All episodes are great! Exclamation points. Good luck not pulling a groin trying the splints. Ouch. Safety warning. Do not get your jeans wet before trying.
That's a definite. See, I know this person's listening to our show.
Yeah.
This is a longtime listener here.
Can't wait to hear that audio. Not the top rated podcast, but who cares? Hey, man.
We're not the top rated.
Oh, man. Why'd you gotta give us a backhanded compliment?
We're not the top rated.
All right, I'll take it. We are all about fun. They do not make podcasts like this anymore.
That's how I know.
He knows.
This is a long-time listener here.
Long-time listener.
Yeah.
First time.
Thanks, Pinner. I know you get it.
Reviewer.
Thank you to Pinner for leaving that iTunes review.
Piner.
We'll keep Piner. Thanks to Piner.
No, it'd be one N if it was Piner.
Yeah. Thanks to Pinner for leaving that iTunes review. Thanks to everybody that took the time to leave an iTunes review. We're at 44 right now. 6 away from that split, man.
Yeah, man.
Are you stretching?
I could do it.
Are you stretching?
I don't need to stretch.
You're not going to stretch?
I could just do it.
Are you even going to stretch before you try it?
No, I'm just going to do it.
You're just going to do it?
No problem. No problem.
If you haven't had a chance to leave us an iTunes review, head out to iTunes, search for The Last Row Podcast. You can find it on our website at thelastrowpodcast.com. You can leave us an iTunes review. We very much appreciate it. We'll give you a shout out on the show. Thanks to everybody that's done so. If you want to go to our Twitter page, it's Twitter at The Last Row Pod, Facebook.com/The Last Row Pod, Instagram too. We've been putting a lot of content out on there very much lately. So keep an eye out for more. So I think that about does it, Badway. I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Tell you what. Why don't you and I go win this thing, huh?
Chuck Norris?
Ooh, I'll go with you.